The word debt terrifies most people. You think of bills, collectors, stress. But what if you discovered that debt is exactly what makes the rich richer? While most people drown in it, the wealthy thrive on it. They don't just tolerate debt, they master it. They turn it into cash flow, equity, tax shelters, and wealth loops. In this video, we're unlocking 7 genius strategies rich people use to make money with debt and why they want you to stay afraid of it. Stay to the end and we'll show you how to use debt to build wealth even if you're starting with zero. Welcome to Ray Financial Hub, where we learn how to create wealth. Your one-stop platform to unlock the secrets of wealth and financial independence. Strategy 1: The cash flow trap. Many people believe all debt is bad, but financially savvy individuals distinguish between good debt and bad debt. Bad debt, like using credit cards for non-essential purchases, drains your income and builds no future value. In contrast, good debt is when you borrow money to buy income-producing assets, which can actually increase your wealth over time. Take Jason, a smart investor who takes a $500,000 loan to buy a 4-unit rental property, with each unit rented at $1,200 per month. This generates $4,800 in rental income monthly, from which $3,200 covers his mortgage, taxes, and property maintenance. Even after expenses, Jason earns $1,600 each month in passive income, while his tenants gradually repay his loan for him. This is how wealthy individuals use what's known as a cash flow strategy. They let income producing assets pay down their debt while generating surplus cash. Rather than seeing debt as a burden, they see it as a tool to build financial freedom, as long as the return exceeds the cost. If you want to escape the paycheck-to-paycheck cycle, start thinking like an investor. Borrow to acquire cash flow positive assets, not liabilities. Strategy 2: Banking on debt. Many people are taught to save money and invest only what they've accumulated, but the wealthy often take a different route. They use debt strategically. Rather than waiting to build capital, they borrow money at low interest rates, often around 3% to 5%, and channel it into high-yield investments. This approach allows them to bypass the slow process of saving and accelerate their financial growth by leveraging other people's money, specifically, the banks. Let's break it down. If you borrow $1 million at a 4% annual interest rate, your cost of borrowing is $40,000 per year. If you then invest that money into assets that return 15% annually, or $150,000, you've earned a net profit of $110,000, without using a dime of your own money. This difference between the cost of the loan and the return on investment is known as positive arbitrage, and it's a powerful tool for scaling wealth efficiently and systematically. When used wisely, debt transforms from a burden into a powerful wealth-building mechanism. The bank essentially acts as a silent partner, providing the capital while you reap the larger share of the returns from your investments. This is how many successful investors and entrepreneurs grow their portfolios quickly, not through luck or magic, but through smart, calculated strategy, backed by financial education and discipline. Strategy 3: Leverage, the wealth multiplier. Ever wondered how wealthy individuals rapidly grow large investment portfolios? The answer lies in a powerful financial strategy called leverage. Leverage involves using borrowed capital to increase the potential return on investment. Instead of simply spending $100,000 to buy a single property outright, as the average person might, the rich use that same $100,000 as a 10% down payment to finance and gain control over $1 million worth of real estate assets. By doing this, they multiply their exposure and earning potential using the same initial amount of money. Here's where leverage really amplifies wealth. If that $1 million real estate portfolio increases in value by just 5%, that's a $50,000 gain. Since the investor only put in $100,000 of their own money, this translates to a 50% return on their original investment, a result that would be impossible if they had bought a single $100,000 property without leverage. This is the core benefit of leveraging. It enables investors to magnify returns, accelerating the growth of their net worth far beyond what would be possible with cash alone. However, while leverage can exponentially boost wealth, it must be used strategically and responsibly. Its true power only reveals itself when the leveraged assets generate positive cash flow, meaning they earn more than they cost to maintain and finance. Without positive cash flow, leverage can become a financial trap, increasing risk and leading to losses instead of gains. That's why the wealthy don't just leverage, they ensure their investments are sound, cash flowing, and resilient, turning small money into big wealth with calculated precision. Strategy 4: Debt to build businesses. Many of the world's most successful entrepreneurs, like Jeff Bezos, Elon Musk, and Oprah Winfrey, didn't build their business empires by relying solely on savings. They strategically used other people's money through debt to fund their visions. Instead of waiting years to accumulate enough capital, they took out loans to quickly acquire what they needed, such as warehouses, factories, or equipment, allowing them to build their businesses now, not later. For instance, taking a $50,000 loan to start a business that eventually generates $10,000 per month in revenue is a smart example of using debt as a launchpad for productivity and profit. The key is to not fear debt, but to use it intentionally and wisely, borrowing not for liabilities or lifestyle, but to invest in income-producing assets that fuel business growth and long-term wealth. Strategy 5: Debt as a tax strategy. Here's an eye-opening strategy the wealthy use to legally reduce their tax burden: borrowed money isn't considered taxable income. Normally, when someone sells assets like $10 million worth of stocks, they trigger a capital gains tax, a significant portion that goes to the government. But if instead of selling, they borrow against those stocks using them as collateral, they receive cash without owing any taxes. This borrowed money isn't income, so the IRS doesn't tax it, allowing the investor to access liquidity while keeping their portfolio intact and growing. A real-world example is Elon Musk, who reportedly funds his lifestyle by taking loans against his Tesla shares. Because he doesn't technically receive income, he avoids paying income tax. And the interest on those loans can often be tax-deductible, creating an even greater financial advantage. This approach is completely legal, yet few people understand or use it because it requires not only valuable assets to borrow against, but also a deep understanding of financial and tax laws. The wealthy don't just make money, they learn how to keep more of it by mastering the system's rules. Strategy 6: Turning assets into liquidity without selling. Wealthy individuals often use a powerful financial strategy called collateralized debt, which allows them to access money by borrowing against the value of their assets, without selling them. Whether it's real estate, a stock portfolio, or even a valuable art collection, these assets can serve as collateral for loans, providing instant liquidity while the assets themselves remain intact and continue to grow in value. For example, if someone has $1 million in real estate equity, they don't need to sell the property to access that money. Instead, they can approach a lender and borrow against the equity, turning it into a cash line they can use for business, investments, or other opportunities. This method gives them access to funds while preserving the asset, which continues to appreciate over time. The key benefit of collateralized debt is that it unlocks capital without interrupting asset growth. Because the asset isn't sold, the owner maintains both the investment and the upside potential, meaning they're still benefiting from value increases even while using the borrowed money elsewhere. Wealthy individuals often reinvest the borrowed cash into other income-generating ventures or appreciating assets, thereby compounding their wealth. For instance, someone might borrow against a luxury watch collection to fund a business loan, allowing them to profit from both the asset's appreciation and the returns from the business. This strategy helps the rich create liquidity, expand their investment footprint, and build long-term financial control without sacrificing ownership. Strategy 7: The Infinite Return Loop. The infinite return loop is a strategic process used by the wealthy to build compounding wealth through smart debt and reinvestment cycles. It begins when they borrow money to purchase an income-generating asset, such as real estate or a business, which then starts producing consistent cash flow. Instead of paying off the loan out of pocket, the cash flow from the asset covers the loan payments, allowing them to keep the asset with minimal personal expense. Once the debt is serviced by the asset's income, they repeat the process, using new or additional borrowed funds, often secured by the increased equity in the asset, to invest in another cash-flowing asset. This cycle of borrow buy earn repay repeat enables them to expand their portfolio and financial power without needing fresh capital each time. It's called infinite because it allows wealth to be created and scaled with virtually no limit as long as the investments remain profitable. Each time the loop is repeated, the individual increases their equity, cash flow, and net worth, all while maintaining control of the assets. The power of this strategy lies in its scalability. With every completed cycle, both the size of the assets and the income they produce tend to grow, allowing for larger and more frequent reinvestments. Now imagine repeating this loop for 10 years, each reinvestment cycle builds on the last, exponentially multiplying wealth and assets over time. This is the foundation of generational wealth, a system where assets don't just accumulate, but also fund future investments and provide long-term financial security for multiple generations. The infinite return loop isn't just a tactic, it's a disciplined method for compounding wealth without depletion. Conclusion. Many people fear debt because they've only seen it used recklessly, but the reality is, debt isn't evil, it's a tool. When used without understanding, debt can keep you in a cycle of poverty, but when used strategically, such as to acquire appreciating assets or scale a business, it becomes a lever for building empires and generational wealth. The wealthy don't necessarily possess higher intelligence, what sets them apart is access to financial knowledge and the willingness to apply it. Now that you've been exposed to the same principles they use, the choice is yours. Will you use this insight to change your financial future, or let it pass you by? Information alone doesn't create transformation, action does. If this video helped shift your mindset, take the next step by engaging, like the video, comment with the strategy that excites you most, and subscribe to Invest Like the Rich for more practical, empowering wealth-building education. Traditional education often leaves out the tools that build real financial freedom, but now you have access to that missing piece. Remember, applied knowledge is true power, and this moment is your opportunity to step forward. Start now, and begin crafting a financial legacy that will outlast you.